Wow, I just blasted that guy at point blank range with an M249 machine gun. But when I did it, my fully trained soldier smacked himself repeatedly in the face with his own red dot scope and his arms turned to jelly. In a shocking turn of events, the milsim community were furious. Well, some of them were. And the some that were furious for one simple reason. This just isn't realistic. It's time to enter the incredibly clear, high poly, backed by Unreal Engine 5 waters of the modern realism shooter, and take a deep dive on what a video game should actually be, and whether I really need a 4K texture of a guy's ding-dong permanently rendered under the uniform he never takes off just to feel fully immersed and have a good time. Let me draw the battle lines. Realism in shooters, to some the gold standard of video gaming, with consumers and developers alike longing to finally prove that we live in a simulation. By making a game so realistic, I can finally shed my upper level meat sack to embody another one level further down. To others, realism stands as the antithesis to the gaming world. Video games, first and foremost, being an escape from reality, not just another place where I can pay taxes, feel lonely, and be depressed. No more have I seen these two warring factions in recent years than with the release of the latest combat overhaul playtests for Squad. Off-World Industries, known primarily for the development of their very much on-world game, Squad, have spent the last few years making a tactical shooter based on realistic combat models in a modern war setting. Eagle-eyed viewers among you will have noticed I crammed that realistic within a couple air quotes. I didn't just do this to put something on screen and increase audience retention. I actually did this to make a point. To many, vanilla Squad would already be considered realistic. This is mainly because Squad has dropped a number of common mechanics that you'd find in a more casual shooter. For example, just like real life, there's no crosshair in the center of your screen. You can't immediately see how many bullets you have in your mag without checking them, and there's not a single playable female soldier on the battlefield. The Squad haters will tell you that even without women, this game still feels unrealistic and arcadey. They may cite the following cherry-picked factors. You have a moving compass complete with map markers glued to your eyeballs. Your soldier can vault a wall 3 times his height, all while carrying full army gear. And getting shot anywhere on your body is entirely curable with a simple bandage. As you can see, it didn't take long to pick out unrealistic elements in a realistic game. But I think many would argue that these things don't really matter. So why does it matter that my guy can't control his recoil? Well, I'll tell you why. Right after a word from this video's sponsor, FlexiSpot. If you're anything like me, you spend an ungodly amount of hours sitting down staring at a screen. Chances are you'll know all too well that prolonged sitting ruins your back, shoulders, posture in general, as well as crushing your spirits and turning your energy levels to dust. Fortunately, FlexiSpot has you covered with their latest in a long line of high-quality adjustable standing desks. This is the new FlexiSpot E8, link in the description. The E8 is height adjustable, moving within 60 and 125 centimeters, making it perfect for sitting, standing, or walking an entire milsim map on a treadmill. You have complete control of your desk, from the buttons mounted to the bottom, as well as 4 programmable memory buttons so you can seamlessly move from sitting mode to bomb shelter mode. It even has a USB charging port on the side so you can run your state-of-the-art noise machine straight off your desk. But noise will not be an issue, as this thing makes less than 50 decibels of noise while moving, which is impressive when you consider that, much like an M1 Abrams main battle tank, this thing has 2 motors, allowing you to lift a full 125 kilograms off the ground, which is very handy if you just so happen to need to lift yourself into frame at a moment's notice. I actually owned a FlexiSpot desk long before they contacted me and genuinely cannot recommend them enough. To get your hands on this bad boy or take a look at the full FlexiSpot range, have a mosey on down to the link in the description and take a look for yourself. Thank you FlexiSpot, and back to the video. So why does it matter that my guy can't control his recoil? You're not going to like the answer. It's because people are dumb. You have to understand that many hardcore milsim players have been known to play milsims in real life, except in real life, a realism shooter is called war, and real life war is pretty realistic. In real war, you have crazy realistic mechanics. For starters, every battle is a one-life event with permadeath. You don't have a heads-up display, you actually just have eyes. and you may even find the occasional female soldier, although they're primarily cooks and medics because that's what shooty men like. Many of these shooty men will be quick to tell you that recoil doesn't exist, and that any soldier worth his salt can kill an innocent civilian from 100 yards away, full auto, with their eyes closed. And you'll need to keep your eyes closed, because real milsims come with real PTSD, a mechanic severely lacking in any modern shooter. With this in mind, it becomes easy to see how a real-life milsim player turned milsim gamer could get confused between the real war they were a part of and the fake war they now participate in, that also just happens to be a video game that literal children play. And to an extent, I get it. Playing Project Reality, it can sometimes feel pretty dumb to have to patiently wait with your scope up while these two white bars come together before you can shoot the guy 5 meters away. In the squad overhaul, having moments where your scope literally looks like this can at times feel like the guy I'm playing is not a soldier, but is in fact the highly untrained me. But the highly realistic alternative is much worse. Any level-headed gamer will tell you that ultimately they want a fun, playable experience with realistic elements, but that ultimately offers relatively balanced gameplay that makes you want to come back and play again. What they don't want is the real war experience, being held up in a bunker for days, pissing into a bottle, getting drone striked by unmanned robots you can't even see, guiding in uncounterable intercontinental missiles from 1,000 miles away directly onto your head. You made a run for it. Oh, I turned him to dust! Here's 2023 colorized footage of me playing realism shooter Project Reality as if it was real life. Oh, I'm immortal on spawn.
Their mortars are good.
Well, I can't open that again. What am I going to do now? But okay, maybe I've underestimated the dumb shooty man. After all, dumb shooty man does know how to shoot people and probably doesn't like being called dumb. Maybe I should take a moment to give you the benefit of the doubt. Please don't shoot me. These people aren't out here campaigning for Ukraine mechanics in their game. They just want a realistic combat model. Such realism would include not having any kind of deviation or barrel misalignment features, having greater control of a weapon while full auto, especially in a 5.56 caliber, and exclusively playing on the US side, never having to be the Russians. Ultimately, at this stage, it's down to the game developer to define their goals, and this is where a player base gets confused. Let's take a look at this game, Unrecord, argued by many a content creator to be the most realistic game ever. And looking at the gameplay, you might consider this to be so true to real life, it might as well be actual body cam footage or some kind of pre-rendered art piece. But in actual fact, this is not only a game, but a tactical shooter with a storyline focused around a player investigating criminal cases and interrogating characters. The devs themselves have mentioned, in response to people calling this game fake, that it is in fact a video game and that, and I quote, "The game first focuses on gameplay and universe on which we primarily concentrate." Now on paper, that's pretty broken English and doesn't make any sense. But basically, even the devs on this game, a game which was presented by most as some insanely realistic true-to-life simulator, is in fact focused on gameplay, with realism being a style that comes second to the gameplay. And this, my favourite, definitely not dumb shooty people, is the conclusion we should all come to before spouting "it's not realistic" propaganda about every tactical shooter on the market. Real life sucks, at least the war part, and actively works against video games. Every tactical shooter developer is making decisions about their mechanics that they feel works best to create a certain gameplay experience. This experience is never the most realistic experience. It is always the experience that they believe most closely resembles their end goal. For tactical shooters like Squad, Project Reality, or Hell Let Loose, this is a focus not on making something incredibly realistic, but instead on making a Band of Brothers style shooter where players work together to achieve goals within a realistic-ish environment, but ultimately within a gaming environment you might actually like to play in. Except for Hell Let Loose's case, where I don't know what they're doing. In the specific case of Squad, to tie this off nicely, is this recoil realistic? Probably not, but does it slow down the gameplay, dissuade run and gun tactics, and offer more opportunities for team play? Absolutely. And that's the realistic tactical shooter I want to play. Oh my god. And before you make the stupid, but it's called Project Reality comment, guys, I've seen this comment 1,000 times. It's called Project Reality because it was originally marketed as a more realistic version of Battlefield 2. Out of context as a standalone game, the title makes way less sense, but cannot be used as an argument against me, so please stop. Thanks for watching. Feel free to argue with me in the comments. I can't wait to find you and beat you in the real world One Life event you love participating in. Thanks again to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. Once again, do check out the link in the description for the new FlexiSpot E8. I cannot recommend it enough. And in case you were wondering, I am no longer standing at my desk. I'm now walking at it. Other than that, all the best, and I hope to see you in the next one.